do a tint touch up with a glaze. Okay, so imagine you are in a salon or in school, and you are wanting to, someone comes in, they want their hair colored. Okay, so this is not their first time getting hair color. This is, they've been having color all along, and you are just going to do a tint touch up with a glaze, meaning that they use permanent hair color in their root area. So you all know the zones, right? Zone 1, 2, and 3, right? So zone 1 is your half an inch, from the scalp. So on scalp to half an inch out or so, right? So that's your heat zone. And then 2 is your mid shaft, right? So your mid shaft. And then 3 are your ends, okay? So you're going to color zone 1 with a permanent hair color, and then you're going to switch to a demi-permanent color, to do her mid shaft and ends, okay? Because there is no reason to use a permanent hair color on her mid shaft and ends, especially after years and years of using hair color on your hair. If you were to use permanent hair color on zones 2 and 3, you would see that it would just start to break down the hair, and just the quality of the hair would be compromised, because you don't need all of that ammonia and all of that on the mid shaft and ends to get what you want, right? Because what you're trying to do is freshen up the ends, enhance the color, those type of things. You don't need to lighten anymore. The lightening came from when you did her permanent hair color at her root area. Okay, does that make sense? So when you get ready to do this, of course, you're going to set up. So you're going to have everything all set up and ready to go. So I have out a brush and comb, some clippies, bowl, my protective cream, okay, and then my gloves, and then remember we talked about the shaving cream, okay, that has to happen, okay. So that's what we're going to need today, okay. You want to make sure you have your regular bowl. You'll need to have the bowl with the bottom on it for this, okay. And so you want to, after your setup, you want to think about safety precautions, right? So how can you do this in a safe possible manner, okay? So then you think about, okay, well, how can I protect my client? So you're going to protect your client with protective cream, okay? So we're going to use protective cream around the hairline, all the way around. Setup, don't have a spatula. Try to find a spatula. Protective cream. I'm just going to take some out without contaminating my container. Put it on the back of my hand so I can get started. make sure that you put a good amount, say a ½ inch or so, all the way around. Make sure you go up and over the ears. Okay, any questions about that? Okay, so protect your cream around there, then put your gloves on. You always want to put your gloves on before you come in contact with your chemical. You can avoid as much exposure as possible. So then pour out your shaving cream. You want to make sure you have enough. Okay? You can always add more, but you want to make sure you have enough. What I mean by that is you don't want to have to go back, every couple minutes. And sometimes it takes a little while to figure out exactly how much you need. Okay, so we're going to imagine that our client has, because we do it on our clients mostly. We're going to imagine that she has some gray. Okay, so we're going to cover her gray. And so in order to cover her gray and give the gray hair the longest amount of time to work and to do its job, the hair color do its job, we're going to start in the front. Because most of the time, not always, but most of the time, people have more gray in the front than they do in the back. Okay, so we're going to start in the front to give ourselves time to for that grading process. Okay, does that make sense? Because this front is going to take you, so the front, when you process it or you're going to be working on it, it'll have more time to sit here than it will in the back. Okay, even though you do it for the same 30 minutes, you process the whole thing for 30 minutes, but your processing time doesn't start until you've got that color on there, okay, on everywhere. Then your 30 minutes starts. So you're really going to have more than 30 minutes in the front. Okay, you're going to need that to cover the gray. Does that make sense? So you're going to start in the front. And you're going to go on the scalp a ½ inch. Okay, you're only trying to apply it to the heat zone. That's going to be your first application. Okay? Does that make sense? So you're going to take your shaving cream. And for a better application, what we have you all do for your tint touch-up is to go around the hairline, especially in the front. Okay? So you're going to outline the hairline in the front. Okay? So you're going to take that same ½ inch and you're going to apply it to the front hairline. And why do we have you do this? For the same reason that we start in the front. It's going to allow you better application of your color. Okay? Better penetration, better application. Because as you go and slice, sometimes people miss, and we call those holidays, right? So you don't want to miss anywhere. And if you outline, it's going to help you not to miss. Okay? So then your first application will be right at the part. So I did my first one. If you feel like you need a little more, you can. And you just want to make sure that you're ½ inch. And then your subpartings will be about 1/4 of an inch. Okay. And you see I do both sides, and then I like to hold the hair. I like to hold the hair because it keeps me in control. So once I apply it to one side, slice it, and I just hold on to it and get my next subsection, apply it. Remember, this is just your outgrowth, just the heat zone, 1/2 inch out, okay?
Are you going to apply it like all over the head, the hairline, or just the section you're working on first?
Am I or are you?
Like me. Like, what's the real thing? Like, do you apply all over the client's hairline? Like,
You're gonna go from ear to ear. And make sure
okay.
you do it at the top of the ear as well for the outline.
And then the back too? Or just the
Back
front?
is not necessary because remember the back doesn't have it doesn't really have the grade that the front does. So it's just the hairline. But I want you to get this hair that's on top of the ear. You see it? See how outlined there as well? Okay. Anybody else have any questions? So you're going to do this whole application all over the head. So you're going to do the heat zone all over the head, starting in the front to make sure that you get good gray coverage, okay? Then you can just banana peel these down, okay? You want to keep it aerated. You don't want to smash them down, okay? Because you don't want that permanent hair color to be anywhere but on the zone 1, which is on the scalp out 1/2 inch. That makes sense? Now, don't get me wrong. If your client stayed away a while and she has more than 1/2 inch, so she has 3/4, so she has or an inch of outgrowth, then you would take it to the line demarcation, okay? But for our purposes today, and for when we do a tint touch-up, we want you to stay 1/2 inch. So on the scalp, 1/2 inch out. So your line of demarcation is at a 1/2 inch, okay? So that means that she probably had, her hair color done like a month ago, okay? On the average, your hair grows 1/2 inch a month, okay? Does that make sense? So you all are going to do this all the way around the head, this first application, okay? Second application is going to be from the line demarcation through the ends, okay? And you're going to imagine that you changed from permanent hair color to a demi-permanent hair color, okay? We don't have 2 different shaving creams, so we just use the same shaving cream, but the idea is that you have to know that you're changing to a demi, okay? So when we ask you, when you tell us you're doing a tint touch-up with a glaze, you're going to tell us that you're using a permanent color on zone 1, and then 2 and 3 are going to get a demi. Does that make sense? You want to make sure that you know what you're doing. You're not just putting shaving cream on. Because if you're doing this and you're not thinking that it's a tint touch-up with glaze, you could do a relaxer, right? Because if you think about the technique, it's very similar, right? Only tiny variations. Does that make sense? So you want to make sure that you know that you're doing permanent hair color in zone 1, and 2 and 3 is getting a demi. Make sense? Okay, so now I'm going to do my second application. So before I do my second application, I have to make sure that I'm getting good penetration, getting some colors happening. I'm able to it's working. So color development, you want to make a little strand test, okay? Take a strand test. And so it's a simple strand test. all you have to do, because you're just at the root area, you're going to go in. We want you to take your finger and remove some of the color. Remove some of the color. Press down, remove it. See if you can see it changing, doing what you want to do. Wipe your finger off. Re-sanitize with sanitizer. Re-sanitize your hands from touching the trash. And then reapply that. Okay? Reapply that so it can continue to work. And then you're going to go through with your demo. Okay? Because how do you know it's time to move on, right? You don't know it's time to move on unless you do a strand test. Okay? Make sense? And the only place you have to evaluate is at 1/2 inch. So you just press down, remove some of the color with your finger, wipe that off with your finger, put that in the trash, and then check for color development. Okay, you just check it for color development. Okay, so now you're using your demi. Okay, and now you're going to. It's always the little things that throw you off. Oh, there they are. 1 second. I use them up. I'm good. Thank you. So once you start doing your demi, you're going to need something to put on the other side so that you don't get color all over, okay? So once you do your first application, your first mid shaft and ends, you're going to need a paper towel to lay it on. So you're going to go line demarcation through the ends. And this is when it gets messy. Okay. But you want to get a good, thorough application. You want to completely cover the hair. Check for holidays. Lay your towel down and put it right on top. Okay? Any questions about that? You're just going to keep on down. Do both your front sides. Because remember, you have to start in the front. So don't go around the head. You want to go first, front. First 2 sections in the front, then go to the back. You want to get a really good, thorough application. You don't want to see. You don't want to see any hair. Complete saturation. Without complete saturation, you won't get a good outcome. Okay, and so when I lay mine across, I don't like to lay it right on top of the other one. I like to crisscross it. Okay, so I just go back and forth. It makes it easier to banana peel them back down. Okay. Any questions? So try not to get in on the face. If you get any product on the face, you want to take a second or 2 and wipe it off. Okay, this is if it was a real client, right? So from the line of demarcation, the ends. If you don't saturate well enough, we will ask you to go back and resaturate, okay? And then crisscross. Line demarcation. To the ends. Crisscross. So this technique will take you a long, long way in this industry. Your clients will appreciate that you're not damaging her mid-shaft and ends every time you do her color. If she does it her own, you know what I mean? Sometimes people do it on their own, they'll do it themselves. And then they don't know any better. And so they're damaging their hair. They don't understand why their hair is so dry and just so harsh and crunchy, right? Well, that's because they've been doing permanent hair color all over because they don't know the difference. They don't know that that's unnecessary. They don't need that ammonia, that level of ammonia all over their hair in order to get the same job done. Okay? And then they want it to be a permanent color. Okay, well, we know that's not gonna work, right? Because what determines how long color lasts? That's right, porosity. Okay, so then you're going to bring these down. You see, when you crisscross, you can grab them really easily and banana peel them, give it some air. Do not press it down onto the scalp. We call them banana peel, okay? So it's so much easier to grab these down. Okay? And then banana peel. That way that can oxidize. Oxygen can get to the root area. It's not smashed down, compacted, and you'll get a better end result. Okay? Any questions about that? And then as you move along, so then you'll do the other front. Okay? So you won't need this for this side, but then you just need it for this one when you first apply because you don't want color all over there. Okay? Then when you start to move these over, then you're adding to the color. But when you first start, you don't want to have color on that side until you get ready to get there. Does that make sense? Any questions about that? That's what you guys are going to be working on today. You're going to start in the front, tint touch up, and then do your glaze. Okay? And then we'll be checking you. You want to make sure that you put your protective cream around the hairline first off. Then put your gloves on, and then apply an outline of your permanent hair color around the face and top of the ears. And then you start with your first application, which is on the scalp to the line demarcation, okay? And for our purposes, line demarcation is at a ½ inch away from the scalp, okay? Then go all the way around the head, doing that. And then your second application is going to be line demarcation through the ends, okay? That makes sense? And then you can take another strand test at the very end, okay? And then you can see your color development, okay? So you check color development after you did your first application with your finger, right? Remove some of the product, check it, looks good, reapply, and then go back to second application. Then after your second application, then you can do another strand test, okay? And so if you were doing a strand test for this one, you would take your same paper towel, take a small section of the hair, spray it with the water, remove it, check it, and then reapply your color. Okay? Same as a traditional strand test. Okay, any questions about that?
Ms. Knowles, just to clarify, you want them to apply the roots to the entire head first and then the glaze to the entire head.
Exactly.
Okay, so you don't want them to work like quadrant by quadrant, like roots and ends, roots and ends, roots and ends.
Oh, good Lordy, no.
Okay.
No. Because remember that your root area needs more time,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you need to have that done all the way around the head. Okay. And then because if you did it that way,